participants are joining here also now.
Yeah, I think we have 61 registrations. Sahitya, we have to handle it carefully today, Sahitya, about what time we should go live. Okay, maybe I will say let's go live now or something, because otherwise you remember what happened, that editing bit, right? Huh? Okay, bye. Yeah. No, Sandhya, what people have known and seen is, that this webinar and the meeting software is different.
Yes, very true.
Yeah. Why did we go live? No. Hello? Hey, why did it go live here? Automatic. It should not, I told you, no? Now, what can you do now? It's already gone live. Hey, we wait for some time.
We'll wait now for it to participate because they've all been given permission to join only at 10:30. I think they're all joining in Madhuri. We'll wait for a bit,
Sure.
just a couple of minutes. So YouTube is also already live, is it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Because it's
Okay.
a pre-scheduled event, no?
Yes, yes, true.
So, Sandhya, can we get started?
Yes, Madhuri, I think let's shall we begin?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Good morning to everybody, and welcome to all the participants on behalf of Department of English CBIT to this webinar on In Sync with Industry. I would like to thank all of you for registering to be a part of this webinar. In fact, apart from being a very catchy title, it is certainly the need of the hour, or it has been, in fact, for quite a while now. And almost all the colleges also have industry institute cells and interaction happening. At the administrative level, I think most of the colleges have MOUs with industry and they have members from the industry on the BOS, that is the Board of Studies and academic council bodies, and on various committees in the institutes. So interaction, of course, has certainly been there for quite some time. But I think what we are going to learn in the course of this webinar and what Dr. Madhuri is here to discuss is how we, in the sense as in faculty, can be involved or be in sync with industry for both our personal and professional growth. And I think in the course of this webinar, she will also be telling us as to how we can take this forward. That is why, in fact, though Department of English CBIT is organizing it, it is not entirely related only for English faculty. That is why almost all the disciplines have been invited to register for this webinar, because I think there are going to be takeaways for all of us. So without further ado, I'm request Naveen Kumar, the co-convener for today's webinar, in fact, who's been working extremely hard in organizing this webinar, to introduce Dr. Madhuri, the speaker for today's webinar, to all the participants. Over to you, Naveen.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm honored to have the privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Madhuri Dubey. Dr. Madhuri Dubey founded National Skills Network, NSN, a digital platform to share the positive impact of skilling and vocational training to bridge the gap between industry and education. Within 4 years of its launch and with an audience base of 9 lakhs, NSN has been
I'm sorry to
receiving
interrupt, Naveen,
overwhelming
but the
response.
audibility has to be a
Ma'am,
little more.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah,
Is it
this is
clear,
better.
ma'am, now?
Now it is better. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So within 4 years of its launch and with an audience base of 9 lakhs, LSN has been receiving overwhelming response and support from various stakeholders in education, employability, training, and employment space in India and abroad. With NSN, Madhuri has been able to put to use 24 years of rich and varied experience in training, curriculum design, technology based learning, and marketing, combined with her research in education policy and curriculum studies in ESL. A firm believer in the transformative potential of digital technologies, she is exploring many ways to link initiatives like Skill India, Digital India, and Make in India through NSN, since availability of skilled workforce forms the base for all these initiatives. Alongside, she's working closely with CII Southern Region to strengthen the industry academia collaboration for connecting education with economy. Prior to NSN, Madhuri was associated with software MNCs, contributing to enterprise learning and marketing communications. She was also involved in pro bono organizations like CDAC, private organizations in vocational training, e-learning, and digital marketing. Her book on e-learning, e-learning design, development, and delivery, launched in 2011, remains first of its kind in India. This session is going to be of great value to the teaching fraternities learning. Now I request Dr. Madhuri take over. Over to you, Madhuri.
Yeah, hello everyone. I hope I am perfectly audible. And I need screen sharing access, please. So, good morning and thank you, Naveen, for that nice long introduction. To know more about me, you can also go to LinkedIn or look at our website nationalskillsnetwork.in or .com. And Sandhya, hi, very nice introductory words, and I'm very happy to reconnect with Sandhya, and of course CBIT. And I have been in touch with Sandhya for a very long time, and she's been a friend of mine for 3 decades, more than 3 decades.
Yes.
We have been students together, we work together, and today we are doing this webinar together. So it's a wonderful reconnect. I think the pandemic has, brought so many opportunities. Among them, one of them is this, where we are able to reconnect with our old friends and
And
do
thank you. We
something.
want to thank you also, Madhuri, for obliging and accepting our invite and for conducting this webinar, which I know is going to be extremely useful for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. I really hope everybody gets something out of it. And we are going to make it like an interactive session. As you know, it's a webinar, it's not a meeting. So you will not be able to speak as such. But I request you to use the chat window, share your messages, your comments, both here on Zoom as well as we are live on YouTube also. So please use the chat feature in YouTube. We are monitoring both. So we will be happy to see. Already we see a lot of comments, introductions, and as Sandhya was saying, this webinar is not limited to the English or the humanities faculty. It is open to all. It is meant for the core technology and engineering faculty as well. Once again, I welcome you all, and I thank CBIT for extending this invite. And I'm grateful to all the management and the staff of CBIT for giving us this opportunity, to me and my team at NSN. Let's go ahead. I hope I'm able to share the screen now. Uh, yes, yeah. Uh, yeah, so let's get started. And as I said, this is not a one-way talk. It's like a communication interaction between all of us. And I have put together a few slides to give you the background and why we are talking about this topic. As Sandhya very rightly said, this is nothing new. Colleges have always been interacting with the industry. They have always had memoranda of understanding, various agreements, various programs, continuing interaction for placement and for faculty development, for adjunct faculty, and many other reasons. But in every such activity, there comes a time when we reflect and look at what is the role for the teachers, especially. Because according to me, also coming from my PhD thesis, I have worked a lot in the area of teacher development, curriculum development, and I strongly believe that teachers are the change makers. And it depends on them how they want to bring in a change. And I think today we are at the intersection of a very crucial phase in the history because of the pandemic, in the history of the world or in history of humanity or whatever you want to call it. For the last 100 days or 4 months, each one of us has gone through so many experiences which were unheard of, unseen, unimaginable, unprecedented. So that's how life has been. And we have been going through a lot of reflection ourselves, introspection about personal lives, about professional lives, the way we are living. I think this is also a good time for us to look at the role of a teacher, particularly in the engineering college, because this presentation is focused on the engineering college faculty. Doesn't matter if you are in the English department or the humanities department or in any other core technical technology and engineering subjects. So with that background, we put together this small presentation wherein we will have questions at various points, and I will give you about 2 minutes to respond to the questions, or 1 to 2 minutes max to respond to the questions. That will also give me a break from continuous speaking, which might make it a very boring kind of presentation. So I invite you again. Let's go ahead. Um, so here I have put up a small agenda here for today's presentation, which is about, as you know, To be in sync with the industry, what does it mean? What exactly what exactly does it involve? What kind of synchronous interaction we are looking at with the industry? And why does one need to be in sync with the industry? That's another question. And from the teacher's point of view, what is in it for me and my college? It means like what is in it for me as a person, and also for my college as an institution which has given me this employment. And you can even extend it, what is in it for the society, because I'm also a person who's socially responsible. So I think these are few questions we will look at, and they are the guiding points for today's presentation. Yeah. So first, let's go ahead and understand the big picture. This is one of my favorite words, which I have learned a lot by using the big picture of anything. When you try to draw, when you try to put together, you get to understand a lot of things that connect the dots and help you in understanding the way things are going. So here are a few facts I would like you to consider. These are very well known facts. They are all over the media. We all know that. So please uh, give it a good read and see this slide is trying to say. So I would also like to read out a few points which I put together here are, there are a lot of engineers, engineering graduates who aspire for one particular industry, that is IT industry. No matter what they do, civil, electronics, or any kind of thing, but they feel their destination is to get a job in IT industry, but very few make it there. And engineers we see end up becoming retail salespersons, cab drivers, delivery boys. This is a fact of life. I think all of us are aware about this. Most engineers remain unemployed. This is also another fact. And on the other side, we see people who are into plumbing and welding and who are mostly self trained and self learned. They earn very good, decent incomes with their kind of jobs that they do. Now, another point which we need to also fact which we need to consider is what is more dangerous? Is it unemployment or underemployment? I hope you are able to understand the difference between the two. I will I will again iterate, describe it for all of you. Unemployment, we are very well aware, that is being jobless, joblessness, lack of jobs. Whereas underemployment is a good example. People spend 4 years doing an engineering degree and end up in a job which just needs a 8th class pass or a 10th class pass. Or people do PhD and then they become a clerk in a government office. Okay, so this is underemployment. And employment is preferred over entrepreneurship, another fact of life. So let's keep these facts together at the back of our mind so that they help us to start thinking differently. Okay. Now, another important factor which comes in seeing the big picture has to do with what I call as the 5 E's. The 5 E's are very important to construct the big picture because you have to put your college in the context of the 5 E's to understand your role in a better way. That's why I said teachers are the change makers. So these 5 E's are, as I have put it here, economy, the economy, how the economy grows, or current status of economy. I'm sure you're reading in newspapers or in media that economy has suffered very badly because of the coronavirus pandemic. So there are ups and downs in the economy. Then education, what is happening to education, whether it is present context or in the normal times, or how we normally live other than the virus kind of situation. And employment, again, another very important a word beginning with E, where job creation in industries, job creation itself is very important. And then employability of youth, employability of graduates to be industry ready if they are job seekers. Then last and most important is entrepreneurship. So for me, these 5 E's are absolutely essential to understand the big picture of how to fit education vis-a-vis, employment or jobs, or academia vis-a-vis the industry. So entrepreneurship is one more core area which I think we need to look at and connect all these five together. Now, some a few more facts for you. This is something we all know in case you are reading newspapers and magazines. 80% engineers are unemployed. How can we prepare engineers for the jobs of tomorrow? Now, where are these jobs getting created? Are they all getting created in IT industry? Why do engineers aspire to go abroad for a job? So many questions are linked. What happens when they don't get a job? What happens when they are not able to get what they want with a degree? And how much of parental influence is there in all this? Okay, that's a very important factor as well. So this is a fact, this is a known fact, you will find it all across, all over the media. Then another example I wanted to give you is, many engineers today are struggling to work, I mean struggling for getting decent work. Okay, because there is a job crisis. We all know why certain situations create job crisis. And there is this thing about having an engineering degree. You feel that you have done something great, and there is an engineering degree which is there with this person, and he or she feels I'm fit to do only a certain type of a job. So all these factors are kind of connecting with the big picture I am trying to construct and tell you the social implications of not having a job for the engineering graduates, and how the teachers connect with this scenario. You may not be directly connected with it, but yes, it affects all of us when we feel the students are not able to get what they want. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, let's look beyond placements. Engineering education is not just about placements in a few of those very top big brands like Infosys or Wipro or TCS or Samsung or any of those very big names. Engineering education is not just about that. It's much more, and teachers have a very important role to play. So at this point, I would like to ask you, have you ever tried, or you must have tried many times, to understand what are your students' aspirations? Can you quickly type in your answers in the chat, in both in YouTube as well as on Zoom? What are your students' aspirations? What do they want to do? This question is for everyone, whether you're from English department, or whether you're from engineering departments, or whether you're from any other department in the engineering college, or if some of you have come from non-engineering colleges. It's for every teacher. A teacher tries to understand the students' aspirations. So can you please start sharing your responses? Till I see your responses, I'm not going to go ahead. So I would definitely like to see a few responses. Yes, they mainly want a job in an MNC, Dr. Vaishnavi. Very nice of you, Vaishnavi, to respond so fast. Who else is there responding to this question? I don't see any answers. How come? Because all of you, I understand, are connected with colleges, with
So
your
there
social.
are a lot of answers coming in, Madhuri.
Okay, I'm not able to see. 1 second. I'm not able to see them. Q&A.
I think Pramila Madam says to get well placed.
Okay,
And
Sandhya,
then,
maybe you can help me in reading out
of
these.
course, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Lavanya says to go abroad. And then Rani says general answer is a decent job. And
Yeah.
then from ELCS says some students aspire to get secure jobs.
Right.
I think Geetashri says they want a fair job, that too in a foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
And then G. Padma says students differ in their aspirations after their studies.
Yeah.
And then I think Shiva says they need good employment. To become, Vijay Lakshmi says to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then a few want to go for higher studies, decent job, handsome salary, good
Okay. Okay.
employment, safety, security. Aspirations differ from person to person. Handsome salary, to become rich and comfortable, says Srinivas Andoji, my colleague. And then Shiva Prasad says common
And
aspirations. I think, yeah, so far,
yeah, yeah.
so
Fine.
quite a few responses
Yeah,
have
yeah,
come
very
across.
nice. I'm so happy to see the responses. And let me also read out some responses on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have here a few of them saying they want to fulfill their parents' dream, and some of them want to go for higher studies and prefer, some of them prefer a job, and employment is preferred over entrepreneurship. Okay. Then here we have students want to settle down well as per their parents wishes, and Jyoti says obviously they want to become software engineers. I like the word obviously here. Employment in government sector is also one of the aspirations, and settle well and reach their goals. Okay, yes, I think we have a lot of responses. I'm so glad that you all answered this question so promptly. Thank you so much. It helps me in proceeding with the next. Just a second. Yeah, it helps me in proceeding with the next part of the presentation. So just to quickly summarize, I think all the teachers have been so very active and nice in sharing many facts. Yes, all the responses are right. We are not here to say what is right or wrong, but yes, each response is legitimate. It is legitimate in its own right, and it is right. So every student can aspire for many things, and we cannot stop them. But the situation here is aspirations on one side, and the reality of the job market and the reality of the industry is on the other side. So how do we manage these two? Okay, that's why we have this session called In Sync with the Industry, and if teachers can play a role in this, that would be fantastic. So let me quickly give you the academic perspective very briefly before we go ahead. Normally, in an academic situation, the curriculum which is designed by the college remains static, except in, let's say, autonomous colleges and autonomous universities, where they have more flexibility and more freedom to change the curriculum as and when required. Otherwise, in normal colleges, curriculum remains static for a very long time, vis-a-vis as opposite the industry, which is very dynamic. So I hope you understand these two. When I say industry is dynamic, I mean that industry is heavily influenced by technology. Industry has to change with the changes in technology, and it cannot remain what it was. Today we have smart televisions, right? And if the curriculum is talking about the old type of picture tube kind of a television, and you're teaching only mostly about that, but you're not able to take the student through various points in evolution of technology, then the textbook gets dated. So I can extend this example to many industries, and for that matter this applies even to subjects like English. It applies to subjects like humanities also. Even in English, for example, if you're teaching in the same old way of prose and poetry and grammar and things like that, it may not work today. Today language has changed. Today there is a huge influence of social media in the way we communicate. So I think these questions and these points can go on. I'm just trying to touch the tip of the iceberg here. uh, there are many deeper level issues. The academic perspective also involves placement, finishing schools, trying to prepare students to connect, with their jobs and industry so that they can appear for the interviews and so on. And the training of teachers is also very important in academia, as we are aware. So um, the faculty are sent to various faculty development programs, encouraged to do research, take up innovative projects, and aspire to do much better and improve their qualifications, and there are many incentives as well. So lack of awareness about vocational stream, I think, is one point which has been bothering me quite a lot for a very long time. Somehow colleges are absolutely disconnected with the vocational stream. And then we all know that just now I gave you examples where degrees are overrated and not aligned with jobs. Now, if you look at the aspirations which all of you were mentioning, That is where the problem comes in. There is a mismatch. Aspiration mismatch is one of the most dangerous things, and that's what leads to a lot of unrest in society, and very unrealistic expectations from the parents as well. Not every child or not every parent can dream about making the students get a high paying job in an MNC, right? It doesn't work that way. We know, because the student has certain inborn qualities, talent, dreams, and so on and so forth. So maybe the teachers can understand, try to understand the students beyond what has been just said about the aspirations. Now, another important aspect of academia is collaboration and continuity. A lot of activities happen in CBIT itself. I have always been following the updates on social media, how you conduct a lot of programs within the college, outside, intra-department, inter-department, bringing humanities and technology, people together. You have a magazine, you have a lot of activities. So there is a collaboration and continuity happening within the college. But what happens when we look at the industry collaboration? That's where there are some issues. I have worked in this space for a very long time, and my experience, based on my experience, I can tell you, being connected with the industry is not a very easy thing. I'm not talking, when I say industry, I'm not talking about software companies alone. I'm talking about industry as in manufacturing, services, and many others. Okay. So for me, even agriculture is an industry, food processing is an industry, manufacturing is an industry, retail is an industry, and all these are industries. So let us, for some time, forget about aspirations and jobs in the software industry and look outside software industry. So what happens is there is a skill mismatch when the students go from academia, that is from the college, to industry, that is where the jobs are created. The colleges are normally defined as the supply side institutions, because they supply talent, and industry is normally classified as the demand side of the entire ecosystem or the spectrum. So these words are mostly used when we are talking about job market and skills, and many other things to do with graduate employment. Now, one more question at this point in time, just to understand how exposed are you to the industry? What has been your exposure and experience? I invite you again to please share a few points. Did you visit an industry? Did you do any project there as a teacher? Not in your student days, not as a student intern, but as a teacher. How are you connected with the industry? Were you a part of any initiative? I welcome your responses as you did just now. That will help me in going further. So please get started. Sandhya, I think I will again request you to please share the responses as you did earlier.
Yes, Madhuri. In fact, I myself have put up an answer to that. We had a Campus Connect program with Infosys,
Okay.
where we were offering a soft skills program for the third year engineering students.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, in fact, Infosys, supported us even monetarily in order to conduct this program, because they felt that the institutes were not, training the students properly. So they helped us in grooming the students for the industry. It was actually called in preparing and grooming the students for industry. So that was a program which the Infosys had launched way back. This was around 2008, 2010. And then over a period of time, they stopped it. So that was my exposure to the industry. And Srinivas says on a regular basis to connect my soft skill students with short and study observation.
Mm-hmm.
That was That's another thing which I've got.
Yeah, I'm also trying to read out from here. In touch with students who are working in the industry, Mr. Venkataramana says his exposure to industry has been to be in touch with students who are working in industry. So this is more like post-placement connect with the industry. That's very nice, sir, to share your points here. And Parthasarathi says definition of industry should not be limited to gaining employment. Yes, that's a very insightful point. I would like you to please elaborate more on this, Mr. Parthasarathi. And then we have Krishna, Sai Krishna. He says he visited a software company along with students as a part of academia industry interaction. And Chandana says had been a soft skill trainer for a corporate. Okay, so this is the industry exposure. Yeah, so
Another answer here, Madhuri, is says that been to the industries, but now as a language teacher, I could only share my experience to my students. Revati says students are taken to industry to get exposure and the
yeah,
skills that they're required for employability.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's very nice. Most of you have industry exposure and experience, and I would certainly like to know what are the other ways to look at industry other than jobs, because that's an area which interests all of us. But in this presentation, I think we are limiting the use of the word industry mostly is as a place where the academia mostly interacts with, not only for jobs but also, like I said, for being connected with the industry for teacher development, for faculty development and various other things. That's the reason we have called this session as to be in sync with the industry. Okay, so coming to the next point. Now, when we are talking about industry, uh, yes, industry is a place where we get to learn a lot. It is something where all the work happens. That is how industry is what contributes to the growth of an economy. And industry is also, like as I said, we get to learn a lot. The moment you step into an industry, when I say industry, it could be a manufacturing unit, it can be a software company, it can be a retail store, it can be a hotel. You know, each all these are examples of industry. It is not just a very big glass and glass building, or glass and steel kind of a building which you find in the high tech city here or something. Industry is all over. So it can be automotive, it can be rubber industry, it can be many of them. Now, when I talk about industry, I want to link it to the need for skill development, because we have already got familiar with the idea of a skill mismatch, which is where we want to see if teachers can contribute something. So to give you an idea about a skill development or the need for skill development, if you have been following some of the updates and developments in this sector, in the skilling sector, there is also a ministry for skill development and entrepreneurship. Just like how you have the Ministry of Human Resource Development, this is a new ministry which was formed in 2014. So it's just about 6 years old, and it would be interesting if you go and look up their website. We from NSN are closely working in this space. That's the reason I think in this presentation we thought that we should also introduce few things that are happening outside the core engineering space. So the need for skill development is very important, because India's rich demographic dividend, there is this very important word which everybody keeps talking about, is demographic dividend is what India has at this point in time for few years more. By demographic dividend, it means we have a high number of young people who are in the employable age of about maybe 30 to 35 years. And in case all of them get into good jobs and find decent employment, it definitely helps the country grow, develop, and progress in a much faster space and in much more meaningful ways. Without all the side effects, or without all the problems that we face with unemployment and many other things. Of course, it looks like a very idealistic situation, but many steps are being taken to reap the benefits of demographic dividend, out of which the need for skilling and vocational training is one very important um, initiative. So India at 75, that's when India completes 75 years, how it gets positioned as one of the most important economies in the world. And this is where the employability angle makes a lot of sense, because it has to connect skills and education with jobs. And how do we empower people, youth, with skills and entrepreneurship. So these are some of the guiding reasons why there is a lot of focus on skill development, and this applies to the engineering colleges as well. So there has also been a push for vocational training. By vocational training I mean like ITIs, polytechnics. These are the traditional vocational training institutions where a lot of courses are being offered, which are job oriented, which are skill based, and which prepare young people to take up various jobs. But sadly, absolutely sadly, there is a lot of misconception about vocational training, and it needs to be pushed up to give the respect it needs, particularly in today's situation where everybody is talking about COVID and who's been the frontline warriors in COVID. If you go back and see, all of them, rather most of them, have had vocational qualifications. If we are sitting at home happily or not so happily, forgive me for using the word happily, for whatever reason, if we are sitting the home in whatever comfort levels we are, I think we should thank all of them who have undergone various training programs, who deliver food, who deliver things to us, who take care of our hospitals, who take care of many other things. So you see the importance of vocational education and training. And it is not just ITIs and polytechnics, but there are a lot of other training companies and training institutions which offer a lot of vocational courses. And if you are following AICTE's updates, and if you visit AICTE's website, you will also find a section on skill development and how engineering colleges can work towards skilling and bridging the gap between, let's say, polytechnics, ITIs, and engineering colleges. So it is here again, I would request all the teachers who are attending the session today to think and understand the seriousness of the situation. And so industry, as I said, I mean, is driving the skilling agenda here, because lot of industry participation is needed, because we are talking about aligning education with jobs. And there have been a lot of policies and things which have come up. Now, just to help you understand the big picture of education and skills, I would like to put this up. There are many reasons why somebody gets into a college or why somebody goes into higher education. Not everybody wants to do a job. We all know that. Some of us want to go for higher education, research. Each one of us have our own reasons why we do that. But there is a huge segment of India's population which is primarily middle class, for whom getting a job matters a lot. It really matters a lot, because they are the ones who support their family, and such young people outnumber everybody else. So it makes a lot of sense to connect education with skills. So you see, this is the current landscape, where we have degrees like BVOC, we have polytechnics on the one hand, on the other hand we have BE, BTech kind of degrees, then followed by MTech and PhD and higher education courses. So there are degrees, diplomas, there are BVOC is a degree where you get industry exposure and a degree. So it is like a vocational degree. So this is just to give you a big picture view. Now coming to the industry again, I would like you to pay attention to this slide where we have put together what is known as industry sector skill councils in India. I think some 35 or 38 of them have been formed. Each of them has a website. The link of this is also available on our website. So you see, healthcare is an industry, logistics is an industry, beauty and wellness is an industry, rubber, green jobs, food processing, banking and finance, IT, ITES, as you can see here, NASCOM, painting, automotive, capital goods, aerospace and aviation, leather, telecom. So what is happening with all this is that Government of India has, through the skilling programs, has brought all these industry bodies. They are actually representatives of the industry, which play an important role in understanding the job market, understanding the nature of jobs that are getting created, and what is the demand for each one of them. Like I told you earlier, about the mismatch and the supply side and the demand side. So this is for the demand side, to understand how jobs are getting created, what are getting created, and how we can train and skill people and help them become employable. Now, I have a question for all of you. Can engineering colleges play a role in skill development? If yes, how? And I have a request here. When I say skill development, please don't look at only soft skills. Look at many other skills, whatever you can think of. Let's keep soft skills as it is defined away for a while, and look at other skills that come to your mind.
There are answers coming in, Madhuri. There can
Yes,
be SDC centers, skill development centers, giving hands-on training on core
core
subject
subject.
skills. Dr. David has said internships and hackathons, and then offer certification programs, giving some field works, mini projects. Vaishnavi, Dr. Vaishnavi says yes, by exposing students to the changing scenario of the industry, hands-on training. The
Right.
answers are still coming in.
Yeah.
Masonry and things like that. Like civil engineering departments also can play a role.
Right.
And Dr. Suvarna Ragini, my colleague, says, as a part of mini project, we expose our students continuously to various skills in different industries based on their branches of engineering. Dr. Sunita says hard skills, professional skills, and life skills are essential skills that are addressed while in the course, giving students the opportunity to develop projects, innovation. We have, in fact, even in our own college in CBIT, Madhuri, we have now the MSME center. It's a recognized center by the central government, MSME.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of outsiders, students, employees, in different sectors have submitted projects for MSME also.
Okay. I
NITTRs can help, says Dr. Bharati.
Right.
So,
Yeah, good to see so many responses. I'm really very happy to see the interaction that is helping me proceed. And I hope you also like this way of presentation where we get to understand your views and not just a one sided lecture. Yeah, I also see quite a few comments on YouTube where Divya is saying, yes, by giving projects, hands on training, collaborative learning, and making students understand the changing needs of the industry. Gap filling activities like Campus Connect, yeah, and certain modules can be prepared. Okay, hackathon is another point which is being repeated here. Literary club, various activities, counseling to student, job profile, right? And add value to blue collar jobs. Yes, Parvesh Malhotra, very relevant points here. All of you, I think, are sharing excellent points here. Very, very relevant. And I'm so glad that all these are coming from you. That makes my job easy. Because engineering colleges have more training programs, opportunities on campus, which encourage students. Well, yes, Task is doing something useful, says Ashwini. And then battery run automobiles by mechanical students, Vijay Lakshmi. Okay, great. I think the skill focus is pretty, clear now. And I'm very glad to see that all of you are sharing your points about how engineering colleges can play a role. And I think we have achieved our objective of this session here itself. I don't need to go further because the idea of this session was to create awareness that teachers do have a role to play as a part of the college in doing few things that we discussed so far. How you can do, maybe we can discuss little later, but yes, uh, you have a role to play, and let's see how. So all the points well taken here. Thank you for sharing. I will just summarize. So what we get to understand now is that from various departments, the teachers have said, yes, there is industry exposure. There is a need to, have hands-on experience. Let's say if somebody is doing civil engineering, the student should also go, to the industry. When I say industry, maybe a construction site, and dirty the hands by mixing sand, bricks, etc., etc., and understand and feel. I think that is what is the skill focus which can come to the engineering student. And that is where I think the blue collar, white collar, and all these collar related gaps also can be filled, or at least we can try towards erasing that kind of a distinction we have among our own students and the education that we give them. So I want to give you an example of the electronics industry here as a case, okay, to understand what the industry wants. When I say industry here, I'm again limiting it to the notion of an industry as a company, as a factory, or any of these places where work happens, and that becomes the future workplace of the student. So, what industry wants? I'm sure all of you know what industry wants. They want highly employable graduates with skills, with knowledge, with right attitude. Like some of you just mentioned, there are organizations like Task to skill graduates, but again, that is mostly limited to the engineering stream, IT stream. And one of the attendees was also participants was talking about NITTTR, which is a very important institution in the country to train engineering college teachers in the right skills, to cope with the industry demands, and then have industry exposure. I think these points also came up, but I haven't seen anybody talking about apprenticeship much. Just like internships, there are apprenticeships, and the difference is that apprenticeships traditionally have been offered by manufacturing industries. Traditionally, I'm saying, and mostly public sector units. But today, the government of India has floated apprenticeship through a scheme called NAPS, National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, where a lot of new industries have been brought into the fold, where students can do apprenticeships in other industries as well. And the entire thing about apprenticeship is also changing because India lags behind a lot. Now, since we are talking about apprenticeships, let me also give you another example. I'm sure most of you follow how industry in Europe or in US or in many other countries, how industries have grown, how economies have grown. To give you an example from Germany, Germany has a very close connect with our work, and we have also got a partnership with one of the organizations. So just to give you a small example, the big cars, the luxury cars that India or any country uses today, most of them are manufactured in Germany. And do you know that people who started these big brands, big factories several decades ago were apprentices? They were not big engineers, okay? They didn't have those fanciful engineering degrees. They were apprentices who started with small diplomas and things like that. And then by apprenticeship, through apprenticeship, they had hands on training in the industry, and then that's how they grew and become entrepreneurs. So apprenticeship also plays a very important role. And industry also wants the people to become productive from day one. The constant thing, I'm sure you all also know that whenever you go for placements or when you interact with industry people, all of them say, hey, look, cut down on our training budgets, we don't want to train the students once again. Okay, it's better you do many things and then you give us people who are ready to work right from day one, as it is said. But maybe in reality it doesn't happen, but this is what is the expectation from the industry. So just to give you a few pictures from an industry visit where we had done a project. This is an electronics company in Vijayawada, where we spent time with the employees. Then we understood how they work. It was like an industry visit done by NSN for a similar project, just like in sync with industry. So we spoke to the people. The industry is a mix of engineers, uh, and ITI students, ITI diploma holders, and people who are below that as well, who could be 8th class and 10th class. So you see, it's a mix of all qualifications that makes an industry. Okay, a lot of hands-on work happens here. And this was one of the smart companies because they were doing a whole lot of they were using a lot of latest technology, using 3D printer and a lot of other things. Now coming to the present industry, at present what industry wants, I'm sure all of you know, today all the enterprises are becoming digital enterprises. So it is not like even a small kirana store is transforming itself into digital ways of doing business with lot of apps and many other things. So you see, there is a huge change with the digital adoption, particularly in the last 3 to 4 months. So going ahead, I think this is definitely going to grow, and industry 4.0 technologies will have a huge influence with the way the industry functions, whether it is artificial intelligence, like you have machine learning, you have data science, you have IoT, you have robotics, and AR, VR, you name it, so many disciplines. These are not going to get limited to IT sector or any of these software kind of things. They are going to have a big lateral impact. They are going to impact retail, they are going to impact e-commerce, they are going to impact every aspect of our life. Okay, so in this background, how is it that we respond to the industry requirements being teachers, and what are the steps that can be taken? So you see, the future is all about humans and smart machines working together. And this means that there has to be a change in mindset also. So the future or the new age workplace skills are not just about being very good at programming or being very good at doing few things which are related with technology and technical things. The humanities and the English departments will have a huge role to play in preparing the students. So what we might have is, if you look at today's situation, I would say crisis management skills are very important. If you look at World Economic Forum, please go to their website or their YouTube channel or their social media pages. You will see that they have listed lot of skills which are needed: life skills, employability skills. There are many names for that, but to give you a list, few of the skills are these. And we have a dedicated page on our website. If you wish to know more, we can always share the link with you. I think one of my team members can share the link in the YouTube chat as well. Uh, so these are the skills which are needed for the students to work in the new workplace, where there is a huge influence of maybe robots doing few things, or latest technology like artificial intelligence taking over few things. And when somebody is able to undergo a proper training in these skills, then this person also feels that, hey, look, I'm not threatened by technologies. It's not like if my job is gone because of technology, I will remain unemployed. No, it doesn't work like that. So when the teachers prepare students with all these skills, you are actually equipping them to become a better human being, and somebody who can really face the reality of various things that happen around us, whether it is a social change or economic change or anything. So, like for example, taking initiatives is very important. How many of us are training students to take initiatives? Not just look for a job, take initiative, do something on your own, contribute to society, or just encourage them to take initiative. That's a skill. Emotional intelligence is a very important skill here. Being emotionally intelligent, how do you respond to various situations? Social media literacy, we are surrounded by social media, and it requires a lot of learning. Social media is not just about sharing few pictures and all. That is of course one small element of it, but it has a huge scope. It can actually help you start business. Okay, it can be a catalyst for many things. So are we telling our students about this? Productivity is very important. How to be productive, how not to procrastinate, or how to be innovative. There are whole many things which come under this skill. Again, growth mindset. there is something known as fixed mindset and a growth mindset. With a growth mindset, we are more prepared to accept failure and things, mainly for again engineering students, because they come to this degree with huge aspirations. Not only the students, I think the parents also need to be taught many of these skills, because parents today are still stuck with a certain notion of a job, saying, hey, look, if my son and daughter does this degree and goes to this company, then they get a visa to go to US and then they settle down in US. Please, teachers, this is not the reality. Please try to convey this. The reality is changing fast. If you are in touch with your people who are living abroad, and many things are changing, but parents are still stuck with that mentality. So somewhere all these things have to be spread across. So I think teachers play an important role here in terms of counseling, in terms of doing many things before the students join, so that they understand the reality. And then of course critical thinking, coping skills, communication, and many others. So the word soft skill is very limited. If you ask me, I would say you have to make it much more broader, because you are actually preparing students to face the reality of the workplace, or whether they want to start on their own or whatever it is. Now if we feel that jobs are getting created in IT sector, in organized sector, in large companies, in MNCs, let us try to correct ourselves. Okay, hardly 2% of jobs get created in those big companies, MNCs, or big brands in India. Most of the jobs get created in the MSME sector. Like Sandhya was already mentioning about MSME sector. How many engineering college students through the teachers are getting informed about this? Here again, teachers play a very important role. I think if you have some window or some way you can get exposed to a lot of updates from the MSME sector. By the way, there is a ministry also, as you know, you can visit their page. They are very active on social media. Try to understand what is happening in the MSME sector. Micro, small, and medium enterprises are the ones who create a whole lot of jobs. And engineers are much needed in this sector. Okay, so this also helps us in overcoming the social stigma of saying that, hey, look, that guy has done MTech, now he's driving a cab. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that, right? And what is wrong if an engineer is delivering food through Swiggy? Absolutely no issues there. But you see, this becomes a very hot topic. Media starts talking about it. Everybody starts talking about it. On the one hand, there is this dignity of work which is not being promoted. On the other hand, there is an issue with skills mismatch or overeducated people really in desperate need of jobs. That's how the reality is. But if we familiarize the students about MSME sector, they can also look at it as a route to become entrepreneurs. Now, coming to entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship is also not should not be limited to software industry or developing a mobile app or developing some software. Entrepreneurship can go into agriculture, it can go into any of the industry sectors I had just shown you. So let us break all these silos and the glass walls that we have created around ourselves. Now, one question again to all of you. How do you plan to be in sync with the industry? I have given you some pointers about industry, what is happening, and mostly industry in terms of, connecting students with jobs. And you, as a teacher, you playing a role in the entire order of things. So how do you think you can be in sync with the industry? Please share your points. It would be nice to know. Yes, we have, I think, 92 participants on Zoom. That's very nice to see. Uh, how to address skill gap with respect to designing English language syllabus for professional students. Yes, Dr. Krishna Chaitanya, thanks for sharing your point. I think we can take this offline. I would be really happy to talk to you with the help of other panelists. Sandhya here, she would also be, I'm sure, interested in addressing this.
Here, some answers are coming in, Madhuri. Internship, industry, institute MOUs, lectures by industrial experts,
Yeah,
campus placements, designing industry needed syllabus, um, and then guest lectures by industry experts, making visits to relevant industries, sending students for internships, prepare
yeah,
a plan of action at the beginning of the academic year for training teachers as well as students too, and then doing internships at the industry, expert lectures of industry personnel, industry visits. So these kind of answers are coming in. Organizing seminars with trade bodies through internships. Modi ji also asked active to after the ban on China, we can have short action sessions for tech development sessions and so on.
yeah. Yes, I see a few here also on YouTube. Yes, sensitization, motivation. Yes, sensitization actually is a very important word. I'm glad Parthasarathi is mentioning it here. I think we are missing out on sensitization in a big way. I think the moment people are sensitized about the changing atmosphere, changing economy, many things will fall in place. So bring the reality of the industry to students. Yes, yes, they are definitely not so connected. Parents also need to be enlightened. Yes, very nice points. And yeah, there are few other relevant points also here, like Parvesh Malhotra saying, in woodworking industry, a BTech student is not ready to work on the floor to operate CNC machining, where he is being paid a handsome salary. On the contrary, he prefers a job in BPO. Yes, I think this point summarizes the entire situation. It is so very common to see many students preferring a job, which may be less paying, but they look at various other factors than a long-term view of what their career should be. Yes, Parvesh Malhotra, this is a very serious issue, and we cannot address this in a webinar or in a session like this. We need to work very hard to bring this change. It means a social change as well, and we from National Skills Network are striving hard to do a lot of advocacy in this area towards informing students, parents, academic staff members, and many others. So I think more.
One participant, Madhuri, said Beck and pet training, I think Madhu. And Shivashankaran says that they did 1 day workshop with the help of CII. So
Okay.
that reminded me of what you were talking about the other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Great. Yes. So, yeah, that's another point. You can collaborate with industry bodies like FICCI, CII, or any other local bodies, and try to get the industry perspective to be in sync with the industry. I think here the initiative, I think, has to be taken by the colleges and the universities themselves. Uh, then it works better. So now let me put together. I'm coming towards the closure of my presentation with few slides here. So in our view, I think our team has put together certain points here to understand what it means to be in sync with the industry, means interface and synergize with current industry, whatever is happening. So like understand, read newspapers, talk to people, try to get as much information as possible and keep yourself updated, because this is going to affect not only jobs, it is also going to affect the careers of teachers, because even the teachers have to keep themselves updated about what is happening. Like I told you in the beginning, in case you're working in an autonomous college, you are fortunate because many things are taken care by the college management because of the flexibility. But if in a normal college, teachers themselves will have to take initiatives to synergize with the industry. So understand the industry expectations, what the industry wants, like I showed you earlier. Look beyond placements. I think this is a very important mantra for me. I somehow feel most engineering colleges keep placements as their most important point on the radar, which is not going to help much in the long run, because placements gives a very limited perspective of a college. Actually, a college has a lot of things to do, and it has so much to offer to the students and to the teachers. So in the In the race to get best placements, many things are getting missed out. So look beyond placements. A placement could be one track which is already there in place. So look beyond it and see how you can you know connect more with the industry, and then understand job markets, and most importantly promote entrepreneurship, because this is much needed today, mainly with the focus on going local, with the impact of coronavirus, which is going to impact whole lot of jobs in the organized industry. We will need lots and lots of young people to start exploring entrepreneurship as a career option in whatever field they want to. If they want to go back to their native place and help their maybe parents who are farmers and do something in food processing, why not? CBIT can perhaps play an important role there. So you can extend this example to many other industries. And then being in sync with the industry, to summarize, it means that being dynamic, industry is always evolving because it changes with the type of things that are happening in the larger economy. When we say economy today, economy is not just local, it has the global implications. If something happens in US, it has an impact on India, and vis-a-vis, if something happens in Delhi, it has an impact on maybe a small marketplace in a district in Telangana. So that is how we are all connected. And job market is also dynamic, which responds to the needs of the economy. And industry creates the demand for skilled people. So where are the students here who are getting skilled? Are they going only with engineering degrees, or are they also going through few skilling programs, or are they somehow trying to skill themselves and prepare themselves through various channels? This is, I think, this is an important area where teachers can think about what they can do. And since colleges are on the supply side, they are supposed to be supplying talent to you know for people in the industry. So they are to be these people have to be skilled and groomed. And this doesn't end with finishing school or something. This is much deeper. Like I said, it is more like 21st century skills, a new age working workplace skills and all that. And every teacher, I think, has to put in some effort here to understand this demand supply mismatch, which is leading to unemployment, underemployment, or a lack of entrepreneurial focus in the curriculum. So I feel if even a handful of teachers focus on these areas, it will mean teachers are the change makers in the entire ecosystem of engineering education in India, because they being the people who are on the ground, they are the pillars for the engineering college to function. I think they can contribute a lot if they take few initiatives, and then start working towards these areas. And we would be very happy from NSN if you wish to publish something in these lines, if you want to do some experiment with a set of students, whatever your thoughts are, please write to us. You can approach me or write to us through Sandhya, and we'd be very happy to interact with you and feature maybe an article, maybe a plan that you have, or some experience that you want to share. Like, that's the reason I was asking you questions, and I think all of you have replied so well to those questions. Those answers themselves have topics for articles, if you ask me. So you can elaborate on that, and please share whatever you wish to share. So to close the entire presentation, I would say that we have to think and act beyond placements. As I said, what is aspirational for you? Please list down. What is empowering for you? Please list down. You don't have to do it right now in the chat window. I leave it to you in the long run. And what is leadership to you? Please list down, because teachers are also leaders. So if you focus on these three areas, I think you will work towards being in sync with the industry, being in sync with the changes that are happening in the economy. So thank you so much. With this, I close my presentation, and we have some time for questions. If there are a few questions, please do share. Maybe we can take few of them now.
I think we can take a few questions. Like Madhuri has said. Um, they're all thanking for a wonderful presentation, and Dr. Sunita says it was a thought-provoking talk and great presentation, thought-provoking. So we're getting a lot of comments on that. If we go back to maybe what Krishna Chaitanya also has asked Madhuri, I
Yeah,
know definitely there's a lot of scope for discussion as far as this is concerned. How to address the skill gap with respect to designing English language syllabus for professional students, like what I think Dr. Madhuri was saying, let's not maybe limit it to only a few soft skills. And I think, talking to the industry always helps us to find, where these gaps are.
yeah,
Recently, a couple of our alumni, their industrialists actually, Madhuri, and that come by to CBIT, and I was in that meeting, and they were talking about finishing school, about grooming and etiquette. They say sometimes some of them know how to speak, but they just don't know how to even behave. Let's say even in a meeting,
mhm,
those simple things. He says also that we can try to groom them and train them in. So like a finishing school kind of a concept, he was coming up with. So I think that was one idea that he had said, Chaitanya, and of course talking, like I said, regularly to people from the industry. When they come for placements, also HR personnel, they're always interacting with us, and they tell us because they already have our existing students with them, so they give us a feedback as to where these students are lacking in when as soon as they join the industry. So I
mhm.
think talking to the industry personnel also helps to find out about the skill gap. And as Dr. Sunita also was mentioning, in her comment about how we have OBE now,
Yeah,
and as an extension of what you were talking about, Madhuri, now UGC, AICT, I think everybody is scurrying. I mean, they're all now very worried about how there is, how it is not skill based. How it, in fact, the engineering education should also be skill based and outcome based, and how important it is to train, to groom the students, for tomorrow,
right.
and how every course and how every subject must have an outcome, and how students, once upon a time, internships were only optional, and only one odd student, who was lucky enough to get an internship used to go. But now they've ensured that internships are mandatory. They're mandatory now,
Yeah,
and that we have to help and provide the students with 100% internships, and that to not wait till third year final year, but start this hands-on experience right from the first year summer vacation itself. So
mhm.
I think they're also sort of addressing these gaps to a larger extent, so that we can go on modifying our syllabus to groom the students better, for the industry. So that I just wanted to add that to what he had said, Madhuri.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandhya. I think for adding to the points which I was also sharing and seconding most of them. As you very rightly said, the skill focus is coming in as one of the most much needed things, because our students are not able to gain as much as they should because of the lack of skills. And like also I keep giving this example wherever I speak. Normally we say, like in Hindi or English, like we say, what do you do? Kya karte ho? Or what do you do? Nobody
Yeah,
says what degree you have first, right? So what do
yeah,
you do? That doing part, I think, has to come back into focus. When the moment we say doing, it means something with skills.
yes,
Doesn't mean a degree, I mean a certificate which I have in my hand. It means I do a certain thing and the respect for doing. So it's
yes,
very interesting to know that MHRD, UGC, various other bodies are coming back to this skilling focus. And like you said about the English curriculum, also, I have one observation to share. I think I'd be very happy if I can contribute in some way to whatever discussion you have. I'll be able to share hopefully few things there. So another important thing I notice is the way when we say communication, communication has more to do with confidence, but not many students are aware of it. They feel communication means English,
Yes.
and they struggle to express in English. But communication can also mean Telugu or Kannada
Absolutely.
or Hindi. So
Absolutely.
you see, there are some misconceptions about these things, and also perhaps I think we can pick up few things and put them all together. And I welcome all the other participants who are here to let us know from NSN if you, like I said, the skill focus which we want to bring in. You can also suggest your ideas. Maybe through NSN also we can create videos and all and share with the teachers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other observations anybody wants to share? And yeah, there are some questions how to motivate the students for placements. They feel that completing their degree itself is a great accomplishment. I really wish we could motivate students. So you see, there is a disconnect. If a student is not motivated for a job or a placement, don't you think there is a disconnect? That has
Definitely.
already happened. 4 years have gone.
Yes.
Perhaps the student was not interested in engineering. Okay. Now, I didn't want to bring in this focus at all. How many students are interested in engineering by nature? Please ask this question. How many students take it like a mandatory 10th class to get into an engineering degree, engineering college? It's become like the new 10th class, as we say. Everybody has to go through the engineering stream. Maybe the student was not interested in engineering at all. And there are stories to share. Say engineering students have quit, IIT students, IIT, remember IIT students, the premier institution of India, have quit halfway because they felt they are not the, they were not meant to be there. I have few minutes, Sandhya, just to give you one or two examples.
Yes, please, please.
Okay.
Of course.
So there is this new actor who's on the scene in Hindi movies and on YouTube. His name is Jitendra Kumar. I hope you have seen him in few
Oh,
movies.
yes.
Yes.
Panchayat.
Yes,
Panchayat, right?
Panchayat, and also Shubh Mangal, Zyada Savdhan, and also, he acted in this a lot of these Kota Factory and all, right, on YouTube. Do you know his story? Please read his story. You will know the plight of an engineering student. I mean, engineering as in IIT. He went through IIT, he went into a job, then one day he regretted that that's not his area, and today you see where he is. We all love him because of a certain thing he brings to us, right? When we watch him act. So he's a successful actor and he grew through YouTube, okay? He is not like Shah Rukh Khan types. I mean, he's not there. But then, he's not that very Bollywood type, I mean to say. He's somebody who started on YouTube and then,
Yes.
maybe in those days when Shah Rukh Khan had started through Doordarshan and today where he is. So you see, and then there are a lot of engineering students we read about who have started hairstyling saloon. Okay, they have done engineering. At one point they felt this is not what they wanted to do and started a hairstyling thing, or people have gone into and we are also working with apparel training design center in Hyderabad and in Delhi. We visited their center and there you see engineering students needed for apparel training, apparel design. A part of apparel industry wants engineering students.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think many students know that.
Yeah, correct. They don't know. So when somebody said, how do I motivate students for placements? I feel you can't motivate them because their heart must be somewhere else. Their mind is somewhere else. They are just about 21, 22, and probably they have been forced into engineering, to take up engineering. And now they feel, what do I do? So that could be one of the reasons. Yeah, by choice or by compulsion. Yes. Yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, we won't be able to address everything, but a small beginning perhaps can change few things, and every change has started small. So let's see if today's discussion triggers off some very nice positive change in all of us. Please feel free to be in touch with us. And I think, Sandhya, I can close this, and I wish to thank everyone, whoever has attended, all the participants. There are 84 on Zoom now, and from 37 on YouTube who are watching, and everybody else
Just
who's
a small
recording.
vote of thanks from me, Madhuri.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, like I said, for obliging, for accepting our invitation. And I think the comments itself shows what an informative, thought provoking, wonderful session it was. we always do talk about, about students and industry, but then I think, Madhuri threw light on how faculty, how can we be in sync with industry so that we ourselves can help the students better, both, personally, professionally, how we can grow, if we are in sync with industry. And when she had raised the topic of MSME also, trust me that not all faculty are trained enough to train the students for MSME. That is what we had noticed even at CBIT. Not all of them, in fact, had the expertise to guide the students to upload a project. So it was a learning experience for most of the faculty too. So there are various areas, in which we can do this and grow. So thank you so much, Madhuri. Like Madhuri has said, we go back more than 30 years, and it's amazing the path that she took. She always was different. She did things differently, and she ended up in a different, area altogether. Even way back, also after she had completed her PhD from EFLU, she was into instructional design, always something very, very different. She did not want to just maybe settle down. She wanted to do more, right? She wanted to do more, for even the teaching community as such. And I think she's still doing that even now. And she had written her book on e-learning when e-learning itself was a very strange alien concept to all of us. And so, and it's quite amazing as to how useful that book is today now, in this pandemic, age of pandemic, how in fact we are doing this. I think say 4 months back, if anybody said that I would be organizing a webinar, I mean, I would have maybe laughed or scoffed at them. So it's something that she foresaw more than 10 years ago, is something that we are doing now. So hats off to her, to her vision as to how, e-learning can be a part of our a blended teaching learning process. So that's how she was and is, and with great pride, I'm very proud of the fact that she is my close friend, because she has done such amazing things. And NSN is also very, very successful now, and she travels across the country. She wins accolades, awards. Maybe that part of her you don't know, so you should definitely check out their their media page, social media page. And like she has said, it's wonderful if you all can write articles and contribute, because they bring out a periodical very, very useful and highly informative newsletter. And as far as the skilling industry is concerned, their networking and their work is truly laudable. So it's wonderful to have heard you, Madhuri, and thank you for such a wonderful presentation, a very useful presentation, which has really made us think and how we can take it forward. And before I close, I would certainly like to thank the management and principal of CBIT for supporting us in this webinar. And I would like to thank all my department members for supporting us. And of course, a special thank you to Naveen. Naveen, are you there anywhere? Please do show us your face so that all the participants also can see you, because he was the brain behind the whole organizing. He's very tech savvy in our department, and he's the one who's really been working behind the scenes to organize the webinar. So thank you very much, Naveen, who is the co-convener of the program. And once again, to the whole team of NSN, because I know they're always with you, right? And and supporting you, Madhuri, to team NSN also. Thank you so much, and thank you, Madhuri. And we will take it forward, and we will be in touch.
Sure. Thank you, Naveen and Sandhya.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful
Best wishes.
session.
Thank you so much. And a request to all the participants, please do fill the feedback form. Like Naveen has already posted it, I think, in the chat
Yes,
box.
ma'am. It's posted there.
Thank you very much.